welcome to another Unity 5 tutorial. This tutorial was requested by Edwin, who sent me his project actually to help fix up the movements of the character. So let me just show you really quickly what's happening with this character. When he moves forward, the animation plays, and besides the controller itself that moves the character forward, the animation also moves the character forward. So we need to fix this problem up. Now the character controller that's being used is the same as the one that I've got on the basic Mecanim tutorial for Granny. It's a very, very simple one. Now the other animation that also moves him forward is the jump. So you can see when I press the space bar, he carries out the jump animation. There's no code driving him forward. It's all to do with the animation itself, that there's actual forward movement in the animation. And sometimes you might get this when you download something from Mecanim, is that you get forward movement in the animation, and we definitely do not want that in games. Okay, so he's programmed also to do a little backflip every now and then as well. So let me show you how to fix this. The movement that you're seeing is along his Z-axis. So if we have a look over in the scene, we can see that he's moving forward along this blue axis. So that's the Z-axis. What we want to do is get rid of any Z-axis movement inside of the animations. Okay, so if we have a look at the animator here, you can see that it's set up that it's just, has this breathing loop, and then he does a back flip through here, and then if you press the spacebar, he goes and does a jump, and if you use the arrow keys, he does the running animation. Now where we actually edit this Z movement in the animation happens in the animation window. So if you go to window, animation, okay, you'll get this window. Now I've stretched it out so that you can see what's happening. But you can also pin this as a tab anywhere else in the game. So let's just go down here. Now I've selected the curves, which is this section here of it, and make sure that you've got your character selected in the hierarchy so that you can see all of these animations. You then want to select the animation that's causing you problems. So first of all, let's look at the jump animation. Now, this is the curves for the jump animation for its position. So there's curves for all the different parts of the animation itself, but we're only interested in the top level position of it. Now, each of the axes, the X, Y, and Z axes, has its own curve movement. And if I slide this, let me put this in the middle here, and you can watch the character up there as we slide. You can see him moving. Move this over. Okay, so his Z-axis, which is this blue one here, you can see how it's moving up and along. Now, it starts from like 0 and goes up to, say, 40. So he's actually moving a distance of 40 between here and here in that forward direction. Now, what you'll also notice is this curve at the end of the animation doesn't actually come back to 0, which means that at the end of the animation, he's actually going to be displaced along his Z-axis. If we look at the the Y-axis, which is this green one, see it's got a little hump in it. That's him going up and then down along his Y-axis. And therefore, he starts at about 8 in his Y, and he goes up and then he comes back down to that same level. Now the X-axis, which is his sideward movement, if we have a look at that there, it's not moving at all. So it's pretty flat. So in the animation, there is no sidewards movement whatsoever. Okay, so let's fix this. Now, the first thing you're going to encounter if you've got your FBX files from Mecanim or somewhere else is that the animations are going to have this read only written on them here. Now that means we can't edit them. So we need to create a copy of the animation and use that copy instead. So to make a copy, we need to find that animation. We're working with the jump animation. So let me just move these up a bit. Here's the jump animation here in the project. And we're going to Control D to duplicate that jump. So here's our jump copy down here. And let's just call it jump copy so that it's obvious that it's the jump copy. Then in the animator, we'll select the state for jumping. And if we go over to the inspector, you can see that in its motion, it's got jump. So that's the old jump. You want to replace that with the jump copy by dragging it up there. Now, this is exactly the same animation. Okay, it's just a copy of it. So when I press the space bar, he will still do what he was doing before. Right, okay, great. So now that we've got that copy, we can edit it. So let's go back to the animation window. First of all, select the character, go back to your animation window, and we will find, if we look for the jump copy, see there's no read only. Okay, so it allows us to edit it. Now it's exactly the same. It's still got this massive Z axis in movement. So we want to get rid of it. And to do that, if we double click on the curve itself, it selects everything. Then right click and go delete keys. A key is every one of these little dots here that determines where the next what's called a keyframe in animation is. So if we delete that, it gets rid of the Z and it makes it flat like that. Now if we run his jump animation, he's jumping on the spot. All right, so now if we go back and play, and I press the space bar, he's not moving whatsoever. Now you can use exactly the same thing to remove this problem of pressing the up arrow key that's getting him to move forward to get rid of the Z movement in his running animation as well. And that's pretty much it. So you need to remove the Z curves for all of those animations after you've made a copy of them and replace them in your animator, what's this called? State machine. So I hope that helps. It's a very common problem to come up with, and just remove the Z curves when your animations move your character without your control. Great. So I hope that helps you out, and I will talk to you in the next tutorial.